Hey everyone, Richard Metalfan here, bringing you guys my last video of the year, and I'm going to be doing, as you can see below the title, talking about my top 25 albums of 2016. Now, 2016 has been a great year for metal, a lot of great albums to come out this year, and a lot of not so great albums. But yeah, and this was really hard to narrow it down to the top 25. I just really spent like weeks trying to come up with the top 20 best 20 top 25 albums, well, in my opinion, and the best top 25 that come out this year. Uh, so yeah, I got the CDs right here, and I should also put a disclaimer. I'm missing like a couple of the copies. I had like two I haven't gotten yet, and one I think I borrowed it, had a friend borrow it. I should probably get that back soon. But yeah, without further ado, let's start off this top 25 countdown. So sit back, grab a snack, and enjoy. This is gonna be a long one. So starting it off at number 25, which is kind of a weird way to start it off, and I wasn't expecting to like this album, and I didn't think it would make it onto this list, but it did, which is the new Lacuna Coil album, Delirium. Now, a lot of people should know, like, I don't really listen to Lacuna Coil a whole lot. So, I mean, I like some of their stuff, and some of their stuff is just kind of eh. But when I first heard the song, I believe, The House of Shame, I was like, wow, this actually sounds different from like previous Lacuna Coil albums. And I decided, maybe I should give this album a shot. And I'm really glad I did because this album is really great. This is probably the heaviest that Lacuna Coil has sounded and the best they've sounded in years. I honestly think this is their best album they've done since probably Karma Code, which ironically came out 10 years ago. I mean, Christina sounds really great on this album, and she sounds really great. Same thing with Andreas. I mean, I think this is a really surprisingly good album. I consider, and this is coming from somebody that barely listens to them at all. So yeah, I mean, I already own two of their albums. I had Comalies and Karma Code, but yeah, maybe I should listen to Lacuna Coil a lot more because this album is really good. But yeah, number 24, we have the Dillinger Escape Plan with their new album Dissociation. I think it's a pretty good follow up to One of Us is the Killer. It would have been a little bit higher, but it's good. But I just think the last album is much better. And this sadly is their final album ever because they're breaking up this year or probably next year. I don't know. But yeah, I mean they basically went all out and kind of like their swan song in a way. And it sucks. I'm gonna miss these guys, and they're not putting out any albums. And I think this is a good way to end their career on. So yeah, we're gonna missing you, Dillinger. And number 23, we have Black Crown Initiate with So Sweet Cannot Forgive. And as you can see, it's signed by a couple of the members from when I saw them the second time this year. What can I say? A great follow up to 2014's The Wreckage of Stars, which I thought was a great debut. But this album is a good follow up. Just sounds like really just aggressive. It's heavy. Has some really great clean vocal work, and just the vocal work in general on this album is really good. Number 22. I wasn't even expecting this to make it onto this list, and this is kind of like a weird oddity in this list, and a lot of people would be surprised it's on there, which is the new Korn album, The Serenity of Suffering. Which, I mean, Korn for me was one of my huge gateways into metal, and yeah, and I honestly didn't really care much for their last couple of albums, but when I heard the first single, I believe it was Rotting in Vain, I was like, wow, this basically sounds like old school Korn, and I was hoping that the rest of the album would sound that way. And the rest of the album did. This basically sounds like old school Korn, and I think this is their best work they've done since probably Follow the Leader and Issues. Like the best songs on here are probably Rotting in Vain, Insane, and the song A Different World, which has guest vocals from Corey Taylor of Slipknot. And yeah, I give props for Korn for putting out a good album because I was not expecting to like it more than I did. It's that good. Yep. Number 21, we have Dystopia by Megadeth, and as you can see, it's signed by the band from when I met them at signing at Arbor Place Mall in Douglasville. Yeah, now their last album, Super Collider, which as people probably don't know, I absolutely fucking hated that album. I just think that album is just bad. But when I heard the first single off this new album, Dystopia, which is I believe Fatal Illusion, I was like, wow, Megadeth basically redeemed themselves after that garbage Super Collider, and I was hoping that the rest of the album would sound that way. and it is. And honestly, I think this is their best work they've done since probably Endgame. And yeah, and they had the coolest thing was they had like a different lineup change. I mean, Sean Drover and Chris Broderick left, and they got Kiko Lugrio, or I can't even say his name, from Angria, and they had Chris Adler from Lamb of God playing drums on the album. And my God, he sounds really great on this album. And yeah, it sucks that Adler's not playing drums with them now. And they got Dirk Verbeuren, who used to play drums for Soilwork, playing drums off with them now. But yeah, overall, really good album. A good way to redeem themselves after that atrocity known as Super Collider. All right, now we're into the top 20, and starting off with number 20 is, well, probably the kings of deathcore and the pioneers of the genre, which is Beast by Despised Icon. Their new album, they're probably their comeback album since, like they haven't had an album out since Day of Mourning since 2009. But when I first heard the title track Beast, I was like, wow, the kings of deathcore are back. I mean, what can I say? I mean they had the deathcore stuff, but this album actually has a lot more death metal to it. It's just ridiculous, especially like the drumming from Alex Pelletier is just insane, and Alex Arian and Steve Merwell's vocals just sound insane. A really good album, a really great comeback from the kings of deathcore. Love it. Number 19, we have a metalcore album, which is, surprisingly, and no, it's not the new Asking Alexandria, guys. And I honestly think this is better, which is the new Killswitch Engage album, Incarnate. I mean, this basically sounds metal than anything. They have, like, the best songs on here are Strength of the Mind, Cut Me Loose, Hate by Design. Has some heaviness, but still has the typical old school Killswitch that people probably know. I mean, Jesse Leach's vocals sound really great. The guitar duo of Adam D and Joel are just the riffs they come up with on this album is really great. And I can't even speak today. Sorry, Adam's guitar playing and the leads he comes up with are just insane. So yeah, that's it. Number 18, we have Destruction with Under Attack, a good follow up to 2013's Spiritual Genocide. And like, I don't know how the Germans do this. Like, this is just insanely good thrash metal. It just punches you in the face every time. And it has two bonus tracks where they think they covered a Venom black metal, which features Alex from Crisian doing a guest appearance on there. It's a really good album, good follow up to Spiritual Genocide, and this band can do no wrong. And number 17 was a surprise one for me. I was not expecting to like this more than I did, which is the new Fleshgod Apocalypse album, King. Now, I really didn't really enjoy their last two albums. I believe it was Labyrinth and Agony, I think. It just, like, you couldn't even, like, you could mainly hear just, like, drums and synths. You couldn't even hear shit for guitars. I just think the production on those albums were terrible. When I first heard the song, I believe it was The Fool, I was like, wow, a Fleshgod song that actually you can hear guitars and it doesn't sound like shit. I was like, wow. I was hoping that the rest of the album was, and it turns out the rest of the album was that way. I think this is their best since probably the Mafia P. And also, if you can't tell, I have it signed by the band from when I met them after their set with Epica back in last month. And this is a really great album. I have some brutal symphonic death metal from Italy. You should check them out if you haven't got the chance. Number 16, we have Retrogore by Aborted. My God, this album freaking wrecked my asshole. When I first heard the song, I believe Termination Redux, which is actually an EP, but it's on a vinyl. So yeah. And this album has a lot of guest appearances. I believe the song Divine Impediment has guest vocals from Travis Ryan of Cal Decapitation. And there also have some other guest appearances like Jason Kaiser from, I believe, Origin, and a couple others, if I can see it. And I think they have David Davidson of Revocation doing on one of the songs, which I can't remember which one. But overall, really great album. I mean, Aborted can do no wrong. One of the sickest brutal death metal bands I've heard. Check them out if you haven't got the chance. All right, number 15, we have Magma by Gojira. Long-awaited follow-up to 2012's L'Enfant Sauvage, and this band is just amazing. I mean, like when I first heard the song, I believe it was Stranded. It just sounds like typical Gojira. Like, And like the things that makes it different from I think past albums, like I believe the song "Shooting Star," I think Joe Duplantier actually does a little bit of clean singing, which is kind of surprising. I wasn't expecting that. And this album is surprisingly a good album, a good follow-up to L'Enfant Sauvage, like I said. Now, number 14, we have "The Violent Steep of Reason" by Meshuggah. My God, this album just crushed me. Like I heard the song Born to Dissonance," it just sounds just like heavy as fuck Meshuggah. Just Jens's vocals just sound heavy, and the guitars sound are just crunchy and just ball dropping, and like the polyrhythms are ridiculous. And I honestly think uh, this is better than Kolos, which I don't get me wrong. I think Kolos is good, but I think this is a step better. No, not step better. Step up. I can't even speak today. Sorry. You should check this album out if you haven't got the chance. Gotta stop saying that too much. Anyway, number 13, another deathcore album, which is Slow Death by Carnifex. As you can see, it's signed by the whole band from when I saw them this past summer at Summer Slaughter. What can I say? I mean, their last album, Die Without Hope, I actually enjoyed that. But with this album, I think it's a lot better than that. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed all of Carnifex's albums, but this album is, my God, really great. I mean, when I heard the song "Drown Me in Blood," it sounds like they kind of went with a little bit more of a black metal feel. Same thing with the last album, Die Without Hope. I mean, Carnifex is basically, well, I think they're probably my favorite band in the genre. Like they have the deathcore stuff, but I feel like with the last album or two, they kind of went more blackened death metal or even black metal, especially like in the guitar work and Scott Lewis's vocals. Yeah, I just, my God, a really great album. Number 12, we have Death Angel with The Evil Divide. Good follow up to 2013's The Dream Calls for Blood. Just some really great thrash metal. These guys have been around for a little over 30 years. The best, probably the best, one of the best bands in the genre. I honestly think they deserve a lot more. More in the genre. I wish people would like, especially in metal in general, should listen to Death Angel more. I really enjoyed this album. Good follow-up to The Dream Calls for Blood. And number 11. And surprisingly, this album isn't even in the top 10. But yeah, I just feel like it's a good album, but I wish it would, if I would have listened to it more, it would have made it the top 10, which is Metallica with Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Yeah, I'm going to be that guy to say that Metallica goes great. But yeah, no, what am I saying? I can't even speak today. But this album is a surprisingly really great. I think this is their best album they've done in 25 years, probably since Injustice for All. If you've seen my review, I love this album. I mean, James Hetfield's vocals just sound better as ever. I mean, Lars's drumming is surprisingly really good on this album. I was kind of surprised, and like Kirk's leads and just the solos he comes up with are just over the top. I love this album. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just kind of like over the top. But yeah, now we're made into the top 10. And starting off with number 10, we have Acroasis by Obscura. Now, they kind of went through, well, with this album, they had like two new members. They had, I forget his name, Sebastian, I can't remember his name. Or was it the other guy? I can't remember. I'm sorry, I'm sort of fucking up. And they had a new drummer, Linus something, who replaced Hans Grossman. But yeah, I mean, this basically still sounds like old school, still sounds like Obscura, probably a good follow-up to Omnivium. And nothing changed here. It's just over-the-top, progressive, technical death metal from Germany. I love this album. And number 9, and I don't have a copy of this album. I would have, but I couldn't find one, which is the new Darkthrone album, Arctic Thunder. Now, with the last album, I believe it was The Underground Resistance, like, the Darkthrone kind of went with a more of a different approach, where it kind of sounds a lot more old school thrash, or old school metal, I should say. I'm not thrash. Duh. Like, they kind of remind me a little bit of like King Diamond, Merciful Fate. But with this new album, Arctic Thunder, kind of sounds like they went back to black metal, similar to Transylvanian Hunger and A Blaze in the Northern Sky. And I was like, wow, it just sounds like a very old school sounding. It's like the production sounds like it's something from the 90s a little bit. Yeah, but with each Darkthrone album, they kind of sound different. Kind of feels like I'm listening to a different band in a way. But yeah, number 8, we have Anthrax with For All Kings. Good follow-up to 2011's Worship Music, and they have a new member, Jonathan Donius, who plays in Shadows Fall, who replaced Rob Caggiano. And yeah, when I heard the song, I believe it was I think it was the title track. I was like, wow. I mean, this band can do no wrong. I love this album. And number 7, we have Great Is Our Sin by Revocation. As you can see, it's signed by 3 of the members. And with Revocation, these guys can do no wrong. I mean, they just continue to get better and better with each album. When I first heard the song, it was Arbiters of the Apocalypse. I mean, it sounds a little bit different. Like, Dave Davidson does some new vocals, like different stuff with the vocal work. I mean, he does a little bit of clean singing, which I don't think you can hear on like past Revocation albums. And of course, they got a new drummer. They got Ash Pearson, who used to play for 3 Inches of Blood, is now playing on this album, and he did a really great job. And yeah, I filled in those shoes that Phil DuBois did, and my God, he did a really great album. Good job. Yep. And number 6, we have Abbath with Abbath. Like I said, I don't have my CD with me. I think I had a friend borrow it, but yeah. Yeah, this, like, everybody should know who Abbath is. Probably the front man for one of the legendary black metal bands, Immortal. But in 2014, he decided to leave Immortal and do his own solo project. And the result was this new album, which came out earlier this year, Abbath with the self-titled album. My God, this is a really great debut from him. Like, the song, when I first heard the song To War, and I heard like Winter's Bane, those are probably the best songs on this album. It sounds like basically some good black metal, but with a little bit of a modern twist to it. Yeah. Now we're into the top 5. Now, starting off with number 5, we have Brotherhood of the Snake by Testament. Really great thrash metal, and a good follow-up to 2012's Dark Roots of Earth. I mean, Chuck Billy just sounds really great. I mean, and the guitar playing from Alex Skolnick and Eric Peterson sound really great. Like, the riffs they come up with are just insane, and Alex's soloing is just really great. And Gene Hoglan's drumming is just pummeling, and of course, Steve goes the street. This is the first album they did since I can't remember the album that features Steve DiGiorgio back on the bass, who replaced original bassist Eric. Greg Christensen. Sorry, I can't even think today. I'm sorry. And this album is just a really great album. I like it more than Dark Roots of Earth. It's really great. And number 4, we have Proponent of Sentience by Elysian. Now this album is the follow-up to 2014's Elements of the Infinite, and this is the first album with their new vocalist Riley McShane, I believe, who replaced Ezra Haynes. And this album is a little bit different. Like, it's the first time that Elysian actually does clean vocals on this album, which you don't even hear on the past albums, and it's actually done really well, and I actually like this album. It's different from the previous albums, but damn, it's really good. Alright, number 3, we have Epica with the Holographic Principle, and as you can see, I also got this signed by the band after their set back in November, and my God, I think it's a great follow-up to the Quantum Enigma. When I first heard the song Edge of the Blade, I was like, wow. And like, they just continue to get better and better with each album, and it's some really great symphonic metal. I mean, Simone and the boys just really stepped it up, and Simone actually sounds really great on this album. And like, she always sounds great on any album. What am I talking about? A really great follow-up to the Quantum Enigma. Wait, check it out. And number 2, we have Rituals by Rotting Christ. As you can see, it's signed by Sakis Tolis from when I saw them back in September. A really great album. I sort of discovered Rotting Christ kind of late last year, and I just decided when they put out this new album, I was like, I'll give this a chance. And when I heard the song, I believe it was I can't remember. That one song. I don't want to fuck up the song titles. I was like, wow, just sounds punishing. And yeah, just Sakis and the boys just really did a great job. I need to listen to more Rotting Christ, but damn, this album is really good. And now we get to number 1. My number 1 favorite album of 2016, which is Dreamless by Fallujah. My God, this album just blew me by surprise. When I first heard the song Scar Queen, I was like, holy shit, this is really great. And I heard the other songs like Face of Death, Adrenaline, Amber Gaze, and I decided, I'll just buy this album. And when I heard this album, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like, I don't even know how they do this. I mean, Alex Hoffman and the boys just did really great. Just Andrew Baird, heard Robert Morey, Brian James, Scott Carstairs. It's just like all the members did a really great job on this album. Just some really great atmospheric, progressive death metal, melodic death metal. Well, and I was not expecting to like this album more than I did. And this album is just wow, like a lot of different from previous Fallujah albums. Like I owned the Flesh Prevails, which I thought was a pretty good album, but this album just blew me by surprise. So, and like a lot of different stuff like they did. Like they actually had like one song where they had like clean vocals. Like they had like a chick doing clean vocals, which is kind of different, but it makes it sound unique in a way. And I really think this album is a surprisingly their best. I think I'll have to say this now. I think this is my favorite Fallujah album. I'm gonna say it right now. Yeah, that's my top 25 albums of 2016. This was a hard list to come up with, and yeah, I just thought this is a perfect way to end off 2016 for me. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all in the new year 2017, and keep it metal.